we found out Bellator, they announced recently that the middleweight title is happening. It's going to be Douglas Lima versus Gegard Mousasi. What's your take on this move? Was this the right move for the title? Is it time they stop doing the super fights? What's your take on this from Bellator MMA?
I think it's fantastic, but I don't know why it's the co-main event to Nemkov and Bader. Like, I know you want to have the heavier weight classes the main event, but I mean, what's going to be the more exciting? What would you rather be, watching Lima versus Mousasi, and then after that you're going to watch Bader versus Nemkov, or watching Bader versus Nemkov and then getting amped up for watching Lima versus Mousasi? That seems like a mistake to me. Maybe they'll change that, but I think it's fantastic. The middleweight division in Bellator has always been a bit of a dumpster fire. Like, think about it. For years and years and years, it was essentially terrible. Like, they had no depth. So now you're starting to get a little bit of depth, and they're giving Lima the opportunity to become a double champ, which is pretty cool. I mean, the thing about this fight is that Mousasi used to be a light heavyweight, and if you watch Mousasi versus Rory, he was so much bigger than Rory, and I fear that he's going to be much bigger than Lima and just be able to control this fight. But I feel for Rafael Lovato Jr. that he had to basically step away from the sport until he gets his health his health situation sorted out. But I think that the end product of it is good for Bellator to have these two face each other for the middleweight belt.
You mentioned Lovato. I'm glad he was able to step away as well. The biggest thing that made me happy about it is that he's not going to get pressured to go back out there. We know guys, they're like, oh, it's probably nothing. And, people are going to put that pressure on him to go back. I'm just glad, unfortunately he loses the belt, but you know what? He gets to take that step back. And if he wants to come back, he can. And no one's putting that pressure on him. As for this fight, I love it. Matchmaking-wise, it's going to be great. I am worried a little bit about the size difference if Lima is as big as he needs to be, especially considering, Mousasi is a big fighter himself. Lima is 6'2", so, height-wise, it's good, but is he going to be strong enough? But, matchup-wise, it's great. And I think you're wrong about Ryan Bader. How many times are we going to watch those awesome fights against Phil Davis? I mean, are you not entertained by Ryan Bader?
I will say this, though. Vadim Nemkov is really sneaky good. Yeah. Like, that's a fun fight. So I'm looking forward to that, because I think Nemkov, honestly, is the real deal. But the one big disappointing thing about Lima versus Mousasi is that there was that picture of Lima and Usman standing face-to-face that was taken over the weekend. That's sad. Why put a steak in front of a dog in a cage and get us all salivating, and then go in another direction? But whatever. I think that fight will never happen, unfortunately, probably in all likelihood.
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking about the matchup, and Bellator's like, well, I got something for you. It's like, that's not the ex-UFC guy we wanted to see out there. I mean, it's good, but we could do a little bit better. The one thing that about this fight, that it's not so much the fight, but it's Bellator. For me, they're doing too many champ super fights. I mean, I forgot who it was. Somebody put out a tweet telling us, what the divisions look like, and I think if Douglas Lima wins, they're like, there'll be 3 champions across, like, I don't remember how many divisions. And for me, it's like, and Bellator, they don't do that many events. So it's like, especially with the title. So if you start on top of it having one champion for this division, he defends his belt, one division a year and stuff like that. For me, it's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, but there's 7 men's divisions, and you'll have 3 champions taking up 6 of those divisions. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a very good point.
I mean, it's a little bit overboard. I like where your head's at. I like what you're doing. You're trying to put on these exciting fights, but at some point you have to keep things chugging along and moving. And I like the tournaments. They're doing things good. But let's come back to this Lima fight. I love the fight. I just hope that at the end of it, if Lima does win, they make him choose a division, especially because 170 things are happening in that division. I mean, and people are constantly forgetting the fights that happen. I saw people saying, oh, we need to see Larkin Lima as a fresh matchup. There's nothing fresh about that. We already saw it. But, 170 is a division that's always moving, and you have to keep it moving. So, for me, that's the most important thing. But matchup-wise, it's a great fight. And if Mousasi beats Douglas Lima as convincingly as did Rory, maybe it's time we stop feeding him welterweights. That would be the way to go.
And the timing's right here also, because the tournament just ended the last couple months.
Right.
So you've had all the different top welterweights kind of go against one another. It's good to hit the reset button a little bit by doing this fight, and then you can kind of pick up business and figure out who the next contender is at 170 in the meantime. I think that this is the right timing for this particular fight for sure.
So let's end it with this. What's your official prediction for this fight? I know it's a little bit tough, and maybe you thought about the matchup a little bit, but who do you have winning this one?
I think Mousasi will win. I think Mousasi will utilize his grappling, and because of the size disadvantage that Lima's I think that you'll be able to see Mousasi have a lot of success with the grappling. And even on the feet, I don't think he's going to be that outmatched against Lima. He might actually have even an advantage against Lima in terms of the power. So I think that Mousasi should be the favorite in this situation. I think he's going to win.
I have Mousasi as well. I think it's going to be interesting with Douglas Lima's leg kick, see if he could change the fight. But man, Mousasi's great on the feet. He's great on the ground. I mean, for example, he's beating someone like Thiago Santos, who's great on the feet, just like an example for sort of his striking. So I'm excited for it. But I have Mousasi. Wouldn't be surprised if he finished it, but wouldn't be surprised if he went the distance. But yeah, for me, it's definitely Mousasi.